Thank you, everybody. Very pleased to be here today, and thank you for allowing me to have the death shift, 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. I'll try to keep you awake. Mine's a little bit different to everybody else's presentation, so hopefully you'll be still sitting upright and awake at the end of my presentation. I feel like a bit of a fraud, standing up here today, speaking to you all. I mean, so many fantastic presenters with magnificent qualifications, lots of letters after their names. I don't have any degrees. I do, actually. It's called a Bob degree. It's not a Bachelor of Business. I like to think of it as a Bachelor of Bullshit. Apologies, Cameron, I didn't give you that heads up. But jokes aside, my understanding of people and personality type has really allowed me to progress through the Dulux business. Without the qualifications that somewhat might be required in some organisations, I've been able to progress on the strength of my relationships and understanding people. So I'm going to take you on a little bit of a journey today. I'd like to start with, who am I? That's my alter ego, Lord Farquhar. I'm a proud, is there any other type of ESTJ? I like to think of myself as not extroverted, sensing, thinking and judging, other than I like to think I'm energetic, engaging, extraordinary, smooth, stylish and sophisticated, talented, tenacious, terrific, jovial, jocose and jingoistic. Happy to explain what they mean later on, but I did look them up. So that's who I am, and we've got that out of the way. But I'd really like to talk to you about how I've taken Myers-Briggs and applied it within the Dulux business, the corporate environment, and beyond that to our trade customers, typically people who wouldn't be exposed to this type of training or tool. This is the business I work for, Dulux Group. I've been lucky to work there for a period of 12 years. And as you can see, we've got a wonderful portfolio of brands, a lot of them market-leading or household names. But for me, your brand is your culture. One thing to have a lot of good brands in your portfolio, and sell, we've seen Holden, we've seen Cummins, wonderful brands. But without people, you really don't have a brand to stand on. Your people are your brand. At Dulux, our core purpose is to help our consumers imagine and create better places and spaces in which to live and work. This is the fundamental reason why we exist. Strong returns to our shareholders come on the back of people and hard work. If we look after our purpose and we focus on our purpose, our profits and results will come, but it's people who deliver it. It's not a brand, it's not a machine, it's people. These commercial outcomes are delivered, as I said, by people who live a standard set of behaviours. Our vision and purpose is underpinned by 4 values: to be consumer-driven and customer-focused, people; to unleash your imagination, people; value people, work safely and respect the environment, people; to run the business as your own, again, people. Having a corporate vision and a core purpose underpinned by values is important. But if you don't understand people, you don't understand business. A little while ago, I saw a video by Simon Sinek, and it was actually called "If you don't understand people, you don't understand business." You may have seen this video before. I apologise if you do, but I think it's worth showing.
The fact of the matter is 100% of customers are people, and 100% of clients are people, and 100% of employees are people. I don't care how good your product is, I don't care how good your marketing is, I don't care how good your design is. If you don't understand people, you don't understand business. We are social animals, we are human beings, and our survival depends on our ability to form trusting relationships. We could have had this conference online. I could have given the same talk sitting behind my computer. We could have all turned on our WebEx. We could have all sat at our terminals, and I would have given you the exact same information. Would it have been the same? No, I'm not there. There's this weird thing about human interaction, right? We can't form trust without, you can like what I say, but you wouldn't be able to form trust without it. In fact, simply being here, we all say the same thing. You could have for 2 days, absolutely boring, abysmal speakers. Boring, 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 right? We've all been to those. Maybe there's one shining star. You're like, well, I like him, you know? And what do we say when we leave? The speakers sucked, but I'm glad I went because I met some great people. It's this. This is what the conference is all about. You showed up not because you're in an industry. You showed up because you have a common set of values and beliefs. There's a million design conferences. You got to take time out of your day. You got to pay money. It's called sacrifice. It's called payment. It's called risk. But you're here simply because you know something about each other. When you go out on the street in an area where you don't belong, where you're not amongst people who believe what you believe, and you see somebody with the same badge as you and you haven't met them yet, you're going to go, hey, why? They're just as much of a stranger as any other person on the street. But because they have that little symbol that says that I believe what you believe, I'm a little bit like you, we can form a bond very quickly and instantly. You do. You do. It's called human beings.
It's about people. So the value for me with MBTI is about understanding people. Firstly, it's about a deeper understanding of yourself. And I know I'm preaching to the converted, and most of you in the room have certainly used the tool and applied the tool on many occasions. But that understanding of self has been extremely powerful for me. By acknowledging your own self, the values and diversity that we have in each other has been so powerful. But in simple terms, understanding people. After I watched Simon Sinek's video, I took a look at Dulux Group's value chain. And for me, when you look through this wheel, every single point of our business is touched on by people. Whether it's in manufacturing, sales, marketing, innovation, or even procurement, it's about people. I've never seen one of our products walk out of a store by itself unless it was attached to a human. The better we understand people, both who work for us and our customers, the better off we're all going to be. Cameron touched on it, but my first exposure to Myers-Briggs happened in 1998. These people were in the news a fair bit back then. It opened my eyes to the importance of our interactions with others, and that deeper understanding of self allowed me to improve my interactions with others. It gave me a better understanding of why I did things and how I did them. And I soon began to put it into practice. I thought I was an amateur psychologist, and I couldn't help myself. I needed to profile everybody. But to be honest, I probably really didn't understand the true value of the Myers-Briggs type indicator. 3 kids and a number of years later, this hit our screens and I thought, wow, I really need to understand people. I wanted to dig a little bit deeper. I approached Dulux and I said, I want to do a certification course in Myers-Briggs. I want to be able to bring this to our business. And importantly, I want to take this to our customers. They were very supportive of that, and in 2013 I completed my certification. And it's so important now to understand people. The world's getting smaller. Through technology, we're becoming more connected, but in so many ways we're becoming more disconnected. Some of the statistics are frightening. 13 million Australians spend over 18 hours a day online. 1 in 5 minutes a day is spent on social media, which, by the way, everybody, it ain't that social. The haters like to hate. There's trawlers, there's spammers, there's so many people out there who prefer to talk about what they hate, what they dislike, rather than what is positive and good in their lives. We've started to neglect the diversity of people and the value of people and true interactions and relationships. If you want to understand people, you need to get out a bit more. The world is now screaming more than ever for a deeper sense of understanding and order. I don't think I need to say any more. Even at the highest levels of government, diplomacy is quite often played out online. I think President Trump does more on his Twitter feed than he does at the White House. I've even tried to think about what MBTI types these guys are. I think Trump's an ENTP, and I think Kim Jong-un might be an ISFP, the polar opposites, which might explain a few things. So I might not be able to actually deliver world peace, but I can certainly take what I know and understand and put it into my business. Dulux is in 13 countries around the world and we've got 4,000 employees. And I thought that if I can try to influence a deeper understanding of self and others, we would get some positive outcomes for our business. As I mentioned at the start of my presentation, every point of our value chain involves people. So for me, it was time to go to work. Dr. Blinco turned up. As I said, no formal qualifications. But all of a sudden I had a bit of paper that said that I could actually take Myers-Briggs and facilitate courses. And I absolutely love it. It's one of the favourite parts of my job. Motivation to do it was there. I know the benefits and how it's improved my outcomes, both personally and professionally. And all I needed to do was to get out and apply it. I wanted to get inside everybody's heads and go, tell me about you. Let me understand you. The more I understood my staff, the more I understood my customers, the easier it was for me to position myself and have better outcomes. So at Dulux, I began facilitating workshops throughout our entire business with our marketing team, our call centre, our chemists and our sales professionals. So typically most corporate environments, we get exposure to these tools. There can be some cynicism, and sorry to all the HR people in the room, but when we come to our staff and we say, hey, here's another course for you, they go, oh, whoop-de-doo. I've never had that with Myers-Briggs. And the reason being is because it's about you. It's about you as an individual. So without exception, everyone within our business has embraced the presentations in which I've shared with them. Some people had previous exposure to the Myers-Briggs, some hadn't, but it was an overwhelmingly positive experience. We've used it for team building, understanding self, conflict resolution, project management. There's so many applications to this powerful tool, and I've seen so many positive results from putting it into our business. So that's the corporate environment. And I thought, wow, imagine if we could get some positive outcomes by taking it outside of a corporate environment. So I took it into the world of wisecracks and bumcracks. Dulux is the leading paint manufacturer in Australia. We have over 25,000 trade customers that have an account with Dulux. And I thought, if I can help my customers, if I can help them win, if I can help them have better interaction with their customers, the homeowners, if I can help them have better outcomes with their staff, their businesses are better, they're more robust, they're more profitable, and guess what? They're going to buy more paint. That's the return on investment. Typically, this audience, they wouldn't get exposure to this type of training. I was a little bit concerned. I thought, wow, how are they going to receive this? Is it some psycho-babble, mumbo-jumbo? Do you know what? It's the most powerful experience I've had in using the tool. Why? Because it's about them. They're running small to medium businesses. And for my customers to get exposure to an opportunity to understand themselves better and how they can apply that in their own businesses has been the most powerful experience I've had using Myers-Briggs. As I said, typically these customers, they're not used to this sort of stuff. They're all about going in, getting a job done, getting paid and moving on to the next job. They didn't think about how they did it. They didn't think about their behaviour, their interactions. They just went and painted. I've also conducted workshops of up to 50 and over 50 people sometimes. And typically that's hard to do. I've got a loud voice. I don't mind hearing the sound of my own voice. So it was okay. I actually got so much more out of those large sessions than I did out of 10, 15, 20 people. And it was because of the diversity in the room. And they felt comfortable in a bigger group of I's or E's or S's or N's to actually put their piece on the table. When you're in a small group, no one wants to put their hand up. Bigger group, safety in numbers. So it's been my most powerful exposure to Myers-Briggs. There was one last frontier I thought I should take Myers-Briggs. I tried it at home. My 3 beautiful children, I know aren't old enough to typically take the tool, but I wanted to do it anyway. Couldn't help myself. Dr. Blinco was in the house, and they have to do what they're told at home. And my beautiful wife, that was an eye-opener. It was about 30 seconds after my wife completed her first assessment. She goes, "Now I know why I don't like you." I wasn't sure how to take it. So my response, I went back to the Father. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. I thought it was a reasonable comeback. We're still happily married. So I'd just like to share with you a few tips on how I've taken the Myers-Briggs type indicator and put it into practice. First and foremost, you've got to share your story. You need to be authentic. You need to be organic. Don't just stand up there and speak straight from the PowerPoint or the presentation. Be real. Don't be frightened to be self-effacing. It'll help you build trust. Practice, practice, practice. I know in our organisation it tends to be something that gets trotted out every now and then. It's not a regularly used tool. But we're changing that dynamic within our business, and I'm changing that dynamic with our customers. The more exposure you get to understanding yourself and others, the more powerful it is. Think outside the box. For those of you that work in the corporate environment, and I imagine that's the majority of you here in the room, think about your customers. How can you help your customers win? It's a different way of doing business. We're all measured on return on investment, our ROI. The ROI for us in this is helping our customers win. So take it outside of your environment and help your customers. But even within your corporate environment, there might be parts of your business who don't normally get exposure to this type of insight or opportunity. So think outside the box and have some fun with it. Everyone loves a bit of fun. And we saw Martin's presentation earlier about well-being. You know, if you can have a smile like that every day when you walk home out the door from work, you've got a good workplace. So in closing, and I certainly wasn't going to take up half an hour of your time today, and I've left a fair bit of time at the end for questions if you do have any, but being able to share MBTI with my business and my customers has added significant value, not only in our corporate environment, but to the relationships we have with our customers, our key customers. They saw us investing in them, investing in their businesses, giving them exposure to things that they never heard about, let alone the opportunity to take part in. It's actually helped me enormously in my personal and professional development. As I said, I've been able to progress through the ranks at Dulux on the back of my strength of understanding people. And while we're the same, we're very much different, and some of us are extremely different to everybody else. But the better off we understand all this, the better off we're all going to be. Thanks very much.